All right, welcome back to another Wright Stew podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I'm Brian Wright, and we have made it to Thursday, kind of weekend eve. I like to call Thursday weekend eve. Yeah,
When I think Thursday, I always think Thirsty Thursday.
you played minor league baseball for a long time.
Yeah,
I experienced that too, but for not as nearly as many seasons as you did.
yeah. 10 seasons of being in the minor leagues. It was pretty much mandatory. Great alliteration. Thirsty Thursday. Usually dollar beers and dollar dog night. They
What a
didn't give you
great, yeah, what a great promotion. Yeah,
yeah, and a lot of times in the kind of the college towns you would play, good college turnout because they're just looking for somewhere cheap to drink. And it wasn't the
yeah.
full size beers. It was more of like a smaller, like they didn't give you a full beer for like $1. It was a smaller, but yeah, when you're a 21-year-old college student or maybe a slightly younger college student with a fake ID, you don't really care where you get your dollar beers from as long as they keep flowing, I think is the result of that. But
Oh,
Thursday,
no question,
dollar
no
dog night, yeah.
question.
Do you remember any promotions at either NC State or in the minor leagues that were
We
pretty
didn't
cool?
do. I mean, we just didn't do a ton of promotions. I cannot, Paul. I don't have the memory that you do. It almost seems like such a second life to me. It almost seems
Yeah.
like I was a different person, and like my brain has been wiped since then. I mean, I know we had some dumb ones. I always like the sumo wrestler kids. They come out there, but I had no
Oh,
idea
that's
what they
right.
were
Yeah.
promoting. Yeah, I have no idea what they were promoting. So no, I
People
cannot. I
running into
can't.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, concussion maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think the sumo suit had a helmet to it that kind of was like a
That's
black.
true.
It was
It
like a
did.
black hair sort of thing. Yeah. I remember a lot. Like bobblehead nights were always fun. From like a promotional aspect. And the cool thing with most of the stadiums you played at least as a home player, whatever the promotion was that night, like you would show up in the clubhouse and whatever it was would be sitting on your chair. So like you would get a bobblehead, or if it was bat night or hat night or backpack or whatever. So some of the stuff was pretty cool. Other stuff you're just like, I don't need a kid's backpack. And yeah, as a young man, you don't really need a kid's backpack, so you just give it away or whatever.
I think I gave all my stuff away. I don't know. I was just, I don't know. I don't think I thought I was too cool, but I just thought it was so crazy how much money was spent on the promotions. And certain places, Niles, Ohio, high A team, short season team, dude, they get 3 or 4,000 too. They did a great job. Then you go to Kinston and you may not have 4,000 fans for the entire year.
For a couple months, yeah, that's a rough time, yeah. No, I played at similar. Some stadiums I played at really well attended, beautiful stadiums, good crowds, very supportive. The town really loved the team, and then some places you wouldn't even know there was a team in the town. It was kind of
And
wild.
hey, I'll tell you this. I went back. So when I got hurt my last year, they actually sent me to Akron, and I was rehabbing up
Oh,
there.
Akron's nice. Akron's beautiful.
And so I was going to be. I don't know if I'd have started there or if they sent me back down, but I was rehabbing up there. And dude, they got great fan bases. Great
Yeah,
fan bases. I actually like the town. It seemed like it could have a lot of potential for a minor league town. They would get 10 or 12,000 people at times.
yeah. They're the Akron Rubber Ducks now. When I played against them, it was Double A. They were the Arrows.
That's what they were when
AEROS.
I
Yeah.
That's what they were when I was going through with them as well. And so, yeah, dude, it was.
I do
Yeah,
remember at Akron they had, so we stayed in a hotel. I guess it was close to downtown, and so everywhere you go, there's like a kind of a team gym or a team workout facility you go to. In Akron, it was the YMCA that was kind of downtown,
yeah,
and I remember they had a basketball court at the Y, and so I love just shooting, just like in the minor leagues, you're just kind of stuck in the hotel or doing nothing most of the day, or looking for a Subway or something to eat at. And so I remember going to the gym, doing my workout, and then just shooting for, gosh, probably like an hour every day while I was there.
were you
So I
by
remember thinking,
yourself?
like, man, I wonder if LeBron played at this gym, right? Because it's in Akron, But
Yeah, yeah. Were you shooting by yourself?
man, my last year in baseball was 2005, and for whatever reason, most of the gyms we went to had a basketball court attached to it.
Yeah.
Dude, I got to be where I was a really good shooter. And so I would shoot from by myself, and then I just started talking all kinds of trash.
To
And
yourself?
And no, to my teammates. I started to challenge them to like games of horse and things. I didn't. We weren't allowed to play actual games, and I probably would
Right.
have been much not as good at that. But I just started playing
But the
horse.
actual shooting,
Yeah, and because I was a big man, my inside game was pretty strong anyway. And I would just do little, turnaround jumpers and stuff like that. Like, oh, you can't shoot. You're just shooting little bank shot. I was like, all right. So then I'd step out and legitimately like 5, 6 feet behind the line and just whoosh. And that's the first time in my life though I'd ever really shot consistently. Because in high school I was a big man and I was a baseball player. Like I didn't. I was trying to dunk and
you were
just
kind
make.
of Curry before Curry.
No, I was not. I was not that good. Nothing close. But like, it really shows. Like, man, if you do practice this, and again with nobody on you, it's a whole lot easier as well.
I tell you what, the minor league. Back to your promotions deal, dude. Minor league people that work for the minor league teams are truly some of the most dedicated baseball people because they are
Oh
there.
yeah,
My wife worked for the Durham Bulls way back in the day,
I
and
remember that. Yeah,
they would pull tarp as an employee. They would have to pull
with their
tarp.
khakis on and collared shirt. Yep.
Yeah, dude, and it's like, holy cow. I mean, and you get there, normal work hours. She was selling like promotions. And then you're there, so you're there 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then you're there to the game's over because you got a promotion that's going on during the
Yep.
game that one of your clients is there. So you're putting in like 12, 14 hours, and it's like, dude,
Yeah,
probably maybe 15 hours. It's such a huge commitment. Um, I
and
think
that's an
go ahead.
easy entry point for a lot of young people when you see the staffs of minor league teams. It's a lot of early 20s because they want to be involved in sports, they want to get into baseball, they want to get
They
into.
think they do. That's exactly what I was going to
Yeah.
say. They think they want to be involved. And what I at least I missed about sport was more the physical competition. I
Yeah.
think it's a lot of people's like, oh, I love competition. No, no, I like physical competition and
Yeah.
specifically hitting. I'm not going to outrun you. I'm not going to outlift you. But if you're throwing something at me, I had developed that skill that was pretty good. And so then you take that out into the real world. And I think there's times where you feel kind of those juices going. But it's definitely different when it's mental competition. Mental competition and physical competition is really two different things.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, again, a lot of fun promotions, and you meet a lot of really wonderful people too that are in the minor leagues. Really cool people. Some baseball kind of lifers who never leave their hometown but are so committed and love it. And just one of my I was his favorite, but lasting memories. So 1997, I was in Ogden, Utah. And I had a host family, the Knutsons, wonderful, wonderful family. They really took care of me. Um, Great people. And they had a son. His name was Eric, and he was at 10, 11 years old ish, right? So he was my host brother, right? We kind of pal around. I think we went to the movies one time, and we went and saw George of the Jungle, and I always enjoyed hanging out and kind of like working with kids and things like that. And
Yeah.
it was fun. Like I enjoyed. He was really hyper kid though. Like I don't know if he was diagnosed with ADHD, but like sweet, super nice kid, but like really high, like had a lot of energy, high energy kid. Um, and so they would go to every game, and at the games, he would terrorize Augie, who was the mascot, Augie, as in like Ogden. And so he was always yanking his tail and like punching him and hitting him with a bat and just all. And I got to know Augie, the kid under Augie, pretty well during that year because he would
And
come to the
that guy
clubhouse and he'd be
hated,
sweating
yes.
and he was like a young, like 22-year-old student from Weber State, which is in Ogden, and a really funny guy and had a good time in the suit. And but he's like, man, your host brother is driving me freaking bananas tonight, right? He's just driving me. Yeah, I'm going
Did
G-rated
you ever
about
say
this.
anything to him?
To my host brother or to
Yeah,
Augie?
to your host brother and be like, hey, don't pull
I
Augie's
think I
tail.
did. I was like, hey man, like,
He
oh,
doesn't like
I was
it.
like, there's a real dude under there. I think I told him, but so all right, fast forward. So there's a promotion they did every night. It was they'd take one kid out. They Augie and the kid would start at home plate. The kid would run the bases first, second, third home. Augie would run them backwards, or maybe he ran the anyway. They're racing around the bases.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
go
they're
and to get
racing
the
around
home
opposite
plate.
directions. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the last game of the season, Augie made it where he was racing my host brother. And the skit is every time Augie gets distracted, he trips, he loses, and the kid wins. Everybody's
Not this time. Not this time.
you know where it's going. So this time he gets my little host brother. They're racing, and Augie goes full bore, doesn't slow down, just trucking, and beats him by like 75, 80 feet.
Oh yes.
Just and he's just jumping up and down, fist pumping, like
No shame.
pointing at no just turns completely heel. Right.
I love
John Cena turned heel the other night. Augie the dinosaur turned completely heel. Was just like if he could have given the suck it, he would have given the suck it to like I don't think he went that far, but and so my host brother's just like I'm watching from the dugout. I'm like, oh crap! Now I got to deal with this. Now this is on me somehow. And so he's devastated. And they kind of walk him off, and the fans are kind of booing the dinosaur. I was like, oh. And so I I see Augie before I see my host brother after the game, and he's in the clubhouse. He's like, F yeah, did you see that? Yeah, he's stoked, and I'm just like, oh geez, man. I was like, I was like, I get it, man, but probably not too cool. And so then I later on that night I get home to my host family, and I'm like, they're like, why did he do that? Why did he beat Aaron? I'm like,
Did you tell him the truth?
I, I think I can't. Oh, dude, it's been so. I can't remember if I just like. I don't know.
I know I would have now. I don't know if I would have.
I know I would have now. I don't know if I was like,
Yeah.
man, I don't know what he's. Maybe he just wanted to win one. I can't remember what I said, but it. Yeah, so that was
Dude,
crazy.
that's
But
awesome.
and so
Hey, you realize, hey Paul, you realize there are people that like they are mascots like as a living. They actually make like I think about the Benny and some of the different ones from the Bulls and
oh, Woolly Bull. Is
yeah,
it
well,
Woolly?
I was thinking about Chicago Bulls.
Oh, the Chicago Bull. Yeah, I was thinking of the Durham Bulls here
Yeah,
locally.
yeah, and I don't know, but dude, they make like a legitimate living. That's like a career path that they do for like 10 or
Yeah.
15 years. Some
Well,
of the
like
big time ones.
the famous chicken and the Philly fanatic and dude, one of my favorite all-time promotion guys. So in the minor leagues again, you have these guys guys and gals and mascots coming to the stadium. Like I've seen the famous chicken. He would come to minor league games and do his whole act. And there was a guy named Myron Noodleman. Did you
Yes.
ever, did you ever see the Noodleman? I loved. Dude, so he had like kind of a Jerry Lewis act, and he kind of wore like these black rimmed glasses and had kind of big buck teeth, and he would paint like eye black on his eyebrows and have big butt. And he had like a suit that was too small for him. He'd walk around and just do like silly dances, and he had a whole bunch of acts. Dude, he was so funny, and I loved when I was in the chart doing charts in the stands, and he was in the crowd because I could just watch him and just be a fan all night. But the craziest thing, so again in Ogden, one night he was in Ogden in '97, and I pitched that game. So I was kind of bummed because I couldn't watch. But actually, I threw really well that night with like 7 innings, couple runs. And so I got done. And I was in the locker room showering. So it was just me because I started showering before the game was over.
Yeah, you're big time.
Yeah. Well, they said we could. So anyway, so I'm showering, and Noodleman comes in and starts showering with me.
Full clothes?
Yeah, no, like we're in the
Oh,
shower, dude.
oh, completely nude.
Yeah, his act was over, so he came in, and we're in the shower. Hey, what you think of my act tonight? And I was like, oh man, like I was pitching, but like I've seen it, I love it, but I was pitching tonight, so I couldn't really. And so me and the Noodleman just hanging out in the shower, having a little convo. It was a good time,
Awesome.
man.
You had a little moment, which you don't get
Yeah.
that often. Excuse me. You don't get that often with Noodleman, which is
No,
pretty
no,
interesting.
not many people probably have had that experience. So if you have a chance to go on YouTube, look at Myron Noodleman on YouTube. Funny guy, I enjoyed him. There's a lot of great ones. Another a relatable and topical story recently. A couple days ago, Brian, George Mason, George Mason Baseball, set a new NCAA record for runs scored in an inning. You know how many they scored? Have you heard this story?
I don't know. I would imagine. No, I have not. But I would imagine we're probably in the low. I would say above 20. I don't know.
So they scored 23 runs in one inning.
Holy
They
cow!
did it against Holy Cross. And I saw the inning. So John Boy did a breakdown of the inning. So I saw John Boy's breakdown and a couple bunt hits, a lot like 8 walks, a lot of walks, a lot of hit batters.
I can
Uh,
relate to Holy Cross though. Can
yeah,
you not? As a coach, that I don't think we've ever given up 23 runs in an inning. But we've had those 9 or 10 runs. I remember for the longest time, there was always that situation where we would play really well and had that one inning that just completely destroyed us.
yeah.
And usually walks, usually an error or six.
Or a
Yeah.
couple hit batters.
And yeah, a couple of hits, and that's tough. What are you thinking if you're playing defense? Or, matter of fact, you're the next pitcher. They have to just if it's a midweek game, I'm
They
sure
used
by
there was
the
like
end.
4 or 5 pitchers in the inning. Yeah, there was like 4 or 5 guys. I don't know. I want to hear you answer that question. What are you doing if you're out there in left or right field or
Oh,
and so
I'm
it's a
miserable.
lot of walks, right? Um,
I've never experienced that. I'm a big, I like the pitch clock. So I didn't like people stepping out of the box. I didn't like the pitcher taking forever between pitches. I like to keep it moving. And not necessarily because I won the game over. I just wanted the action to happen. And for that action to happen, the guy had to be throwing the ball and somebody else had to be in the box. And so I would say I'd have been going nuts. I'd have been talking to myself, probably verbally at that point. I think there's oftentimes I talk to myself internally. But at that point it would have become verbal, and I don't know, dude. I am big though, and always have been from maybe it was bred into I won't say bred, but taught into me at a young age. Like I was always a very positive body language guy, no matter what the deal was. I was
yeah.
never a slump shoulders guy. I was
Or
never
just a no,
a
yeah, kind of a no body language.
yeah, yeah.
That was something
And
that was kind of drilled into me. Whether you just struck out the last dude or the last dude hit a home run, the next pitch should look the exact same
that's right. And you weren't
from
given
every
the
perspective.
we've
Yeah,
seen some great celebrations from pitchers in the
yeah, it's
MLB.
stupid. Yeah, it's dumb.
But I don't know what I'm doing, dude. I think you're just hoping that I don't know, maybe some type of weird mercy rule. I don't know what. I can't imagine. I don't.
So
I'm
they ended up.
sure I
So
was
George
part of some
Mason.
9 or 10 run situations, but I was
Yeah.
never a part of a
No, well,
22
no, well,
situation.
nobody ever has been part of a 23.
Or even a 20, or
Yeah, no, I mean, again, that doesn't happen very often. We did have that one game when I think so. Brian and I were coaching in our team, and I think we were 10, maybe 11U, and we put up like 15 runs in the first inning or 16,
this is true.
and our boys were hitting it pretty good. Yeah, we were getting some walks, probably a couple errors mixed in, and the team we were playing was okay. They weren't terrible. They weren't.
I would say we were clearly superior in
Yeah,
that
well,
game.
yeah, we were a better team for sure. So we put up. I think we ended up putting like 16 or 17, and then Brian was coaching third, and I was coaching first, and we're kind of looking at
I
each
think
other.
there were no outs or something.
No,
It's like this inning.
there was no outs at all, and we were in the third base dugout, and so I
Yeah.
was, and I was over. I typically talk to the other coaches when I'm on that side, just courteous.
Because you're a nice person. I don't. I find a reason to hate them. You're a good
Yeah,
person.
yeah. I
Yeah.
typically kind of and they weren't like really like that situation. Sometimes coaches just get livid and start throwing stuff. They were pretty calm about it. I don't say calm. They were upset, but they understood, right? No, nobody was out there trying to walk. They were being as positive as they
And we
could.
weren't doing anything. We quit stealing
And
bases.
we weren't
Yeah,
taking
when
extra
you're up
bases.
10, you were not taking extra bases.
But what we ended up doing was, I told the coach, I said, "Hey, just throw over."
Yep.
We're and so they threw over, picked off our kid at first. Our kid at second just took a step off the bag. We essentially gave them a triple play. And so the dumb part though was in the bottom half of the inning. So we were the visitors. The bottom half of the inning, I thought they'd roll over.
Yeah.
And they ended up scoring like 4 or 5 on us in the bottom
Oh
half
yeah, I
of the
remember
inning.
that. It may have been more than that, and I
No,
remember
it
thinking,
did. I mean, I think we run ruled them as soon as you could run rule them. But at the
yeah,
same time, it was like I kind of respected their kids because like, oh, we're still up here hitting, and I mean, they didn't roll over. I was like, well, that was
Good character,
unexpected.
or maybe just indifference. I don't know. You do see a lot of those things because baseball, a lot of times, man, if you can just throw strikes at a lot of different levels, there's exceptions to the rule, but a lot of different levels. If you don't walk guys and give guys free passes, guys will get themselves out a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of long games, I remember Midwest League 1998. I played within 2 weeks. We played two 18-inning games. And dude, you want to talk about long? And the first one, I had nothing to do with. I was literally in the dugout doing nothing. It was early in the season in Beloit, Wisconsin. It
Nice and cool.
it was a day game. Must have been a Sunday game. It was like cold. It was like in the 30s. It's just
Did it turn into a night game?
no. It was day the whole time. So it must have been a Sunday, like 1 o'clock start or something. And I'm sure it turned darker, as we progressed. But it was man, that was that
Hey,
was
when you were in that situation where you were looking back now, would you hope that they put a runner on second and force some runs to be scored to speed that game up?
gosh, in the moment probably. In the
Because
moment.
I know you're anti-rule
I'm
change.
anti, but in that moment, but we had one of those heaters in the dugout, like the one that looked like a rocket engine. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know, 100%. Yeah,
And
yeah.
here's the difficult thing too. So in that league, I was 19 years old. It's hard not to screw around with that thing and try to light stuff on fire.
Well, at 19, maybe.
Yeah, I mean now probably yeah I'm not doing it, but
Well,
like
probably even 22,
throwing
23, you're past
throwing
it. But
cups in there and just pieces of paper catching
did
stuff
you
on.
set anything on fire?
I think I melted some stuff because those Gatorade cups have like the wax around it, so it didn't. They
Were
were
you
tough to
ever
catch on fire.
I feel like you were probably a prankster guy. Like, were you ever setting anybody's shoelaces or hot foot or bubbles
Yeah,
on people's hat?
some stuff like that. My favorite was or one of my favorites. You know the grape Kool-Aid packets.
Yeah.
So if you take a grape Kool-Aid packet and put it in somebody's shoes before BP, and then they sweat a lot, the grape Kool-Aid packet like activates and it turns their feet purple.
So that's one of your go-tos?
So that was kind of a fun one. Watching people feet turn purple. Then they could wear flip flops for a couple of days, I guess. And I get kind of harmless, but kind of stupid. That,
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that was a
I
pretty good
remember
one.
bubbles. I remember a hot foot. I remember some shoes being tied together somehow. I don't even know how that was possible, but it
Yeah.
seemed like maybe some guys were standing up on the step or whatever, overlooking the dugout or whatever, and some shoelaces being tied together, and some guys eating it, and the guy getting pretty pissed.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't. I don't remember any great ones that really. I feel like you played long enough though. You had to have saw a thing or two.
Yeah, there was a bunch more going on. Yeah, icy hot and jock straps and on. We had one time a guy. There was this guy. He wore his hat all the time, right? Typically, you wear your hat in BP. You come back, you put it, you hang it in your locker or put it away or whatever. Then this guy would wear his hat in the locker room, and so they took a Sharpie and on the inside of the hat wrote "dork," and
Could have been
so
worse.
and so again when you sweat, it kind of bleeds onto your forehead. So he had like a tattoo of like "dork" on his forehead. It
Did they
was
write it reverse to where he could
yeah, they wrote
kind
it
of? It
reverse
was.
so you could see it normal when you.
Oh
That's how
wow, that's really a lot of forethought there. A lot of
that one was
forethought.
pretty good. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did a lot of. Yeah, there was a lot going on. We could probably have a whole separate show on kind of pranks and shenanigans that went on in the minor leagues. But that was the one of my kids were asking me about this the other day. I remember this was '99. I was in the Cal League. I was in Stockton. We were playing against the High Desert Mavericks, and High Desert was one of the best places to hit in all of professional baseball. And so I think I went 6 innings, gave up like 4 runs with like 3 home runs. And a couple of them were like legitimately probably just fly balls that got out.
Anywhere else, yeah.
Yeah, anywhere else. And I went up to the locker room, and we didn't have like real chairs. We had like those plastic chairs that you like have at like a picnic or something sort of thing, like the one piece plastic ones.
Oh yeah.
And I was ticked. I just took my chair and I threw it against the wall. And the chair just, I didn't expect it, just, I thought it would bounce back. It just blew up. Like my whole chair blew up. So I'm like, ah, oh, and then there was like one chair per locker. Like there was not extra chairs. Just,
Did you switch it with somebody?
well, no, I taped it together. I got the athletic tape and I tried to,
Oh, that's
but
complete
then
humiliation right there.
in
Yeah.
my rage though, I don't know why I did this. There was like a ham and cheese platter laying out. I took cheese, I threw it at the wall, like a slice of Kraft cheese, and it stuck to the wall. And it just stuck there, like nobody messed with it. So then the next day, I'm like, ah, oh, the cheese is still on the wall. So I went to peel it off, and it started peeling the paint off the wall. I was like,
There's a reason they call that government cheese. It's not
yeah.
completely just cheese. There's something else in there.
And so I just
Paint thinner.
I left the cheese on the wall and just like I gave the clubby like $10 and it's all right.
Hey, speaking of, like some of the clubbies, like they're if you ever had an older clubby,
Oh, they're great.
dude, they're the best. I had a kid one year. I had an
Kids
older
are
guy.
terrible.
Your
Young
kids are
guys.
terrible. The older guys take it serious. They and they can make a little bit of money. And you try to
Yeah.
take care of the guys. And dude, it's the best when you can say, "Hey, here's $10. Will you clean my shoes?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's nothing better than that, dude.
Man, there was I had some I had some good young ones as well, a couple, but you could tell like they loved it, like they were into it, and they were
Yeah.
that's what they wanted to do, kind of from a career perspective. And man, great, what a cool career, what a
You think? You
dude,
think
man,
of a
like
clubby as a cool career?
you're hanging around, you're in the freaking clubhouse, you're hanging around big league guys, they're tipping you out the butt for, I mean, you being a
Oh,
gopher.
you're saying like working your way up and being
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a big league
not like
clubby.
a double A club your whole life,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm thinking of.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
I was thinking like
that's not
like
a
a big league
career.
guy, like a
Yeah.
big league clubby. Yeah, so there was a couple guys that were, one guy in particular. He was Brad Starr was his name. He was with us with the Brewers and eventually got to the big leagues. It was a clubby with the Astros, man. And like it's pretty cool, man. Like and those big league guys take like legitimately take care of their like.
Oh
I
yeah.
think
So I would
like buying
imagine
cars and stuff for people.
big league clubbies are making a couple $100,000 at least.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a great job, right?
It's not glamorous.
You're doing laundry, you're up late, you're doing that kind of thing. But clubbies can make or break some stuff. And we had a clubby on the road one time. So in Altoona, we had a bunch of different jerseys, but on the road we typically wore like black tops with silver Altoona across the front, and those were my favorites to wear. And so the dude shrinks them, like he puts them in the dryer and he shrinks, and we're like, what? Like that's our uniforms, dude. Like you ruined a whole set of like,
There was no stretching them back out.
no, no. I mean, and again, young guy didn't know what he was doing, and then the food there was terrible. I'm like, dude. And I went to my manager, like, dude, I'm not paying this guy. Like, I can't. I'm gonna ruin our jerseys. He's like, you gotta pay him. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, why? For what? The guy did a terrible job.
You do have to pay them, and it is funny. You got the away guy can make a huge difference in your experience.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I mean that's 100%. Food, getting you a little snack if you need one, knowing where to get stuff for a decent price, where you get something a little extra. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes it. That's a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember at the big league camp with the Brewers, uh they would clean your shoes. Like I'd never really had that in the minor leagues where somebody was cleaning my shoes. But they
Now I did pay guys. I never cleaned
yeah.
my own. Mine were terrible in college, and then I get like you were supposed to clean them in college. I just didn't care, and
Yeah.
then I did pay the clubby several times.
Yeah, I every once in a while they would do it sometime, but prior to that season, I'd never really had it done. So in the big league, they're just doing it for you.
Mm.
But there was one guy, Kurt Liskanek. He pitched, came out, I think came up with the Rockies, was with the Brewers. He was on the '04 Red Sox team, pitched a couple big innings in the playoffs there. But Liskanek, really nice guy. He actually rehabbed in '02 in Double A, and again really took care of us, like big league guys should. But I remember he liked him to be clean, but didn't like the polish on it. So he wore Nikes, and on the swoosh he wrote "no polish." And I remember he's like, "Wait, how do you spell polish? Is it two L's or one?" Because he's like, "This looks like no Polish." So maybe they think I'm racist against Polish people. Like that was Lascanic's
Oh
like
my
thought
god!
process.
Oh my god!
He's like, I don't want to get on TV thinking that I don't like Polish people. Like, so
Well, oh, that's hilarious, dude. What a great story. I
yeah,
remember, we had guys came down. Jarrett Wright came down, and he was rehabbing in
yeah.
Niles, Ohio at short season A, and he did not take care of us. He kind
Oh, come on.
of, yeah, that was kind of disappointing. He did not. He came in and pitched at least once, maybe twice, and there was no spread that was special, that I can
He
recall.
was young.
Yeah.
He was young. Had to been young though.
He was young, but he had established himself in the big leagues, and he
Okay.
had. Well, I shouldn't say established. He had been in the big leagues, and maybe not
He was
completely.
big time real quick though. Like
Yes, yeah,
he came up and was just
and we
on
had the
fire.
same last name, and it's just he very much just did his thing, didn't really speak to anybody, and then pitched maybe one other time. Then he was gone, and yeah,
Big leagues, yeah.
yeah. In that case, he definitely did, and maybe he didn't know. Well, I feel like every guy knows. I don't know.
You know the etiquette. Yeah, you hear the stories immediately and all the stuff, and yeah, you know what you should do. Come on, Jarrett. Right? That's disappointing to hear. I always hate that. So, man, what a trip down memory lane. And congratulations to the George Mason Patriots, 23 runs in a new NCAA record. Um, Holy Cross. Let's throw more strikes, guys. Let's let that defense do some work for you. But there's as Juan Zapata said, tomorrow is a new day. New day.
Yep. And we got again Friday Eve happening. So let's make it a good one.
That's right. So, hey, we appreciate you listening. Make sure you click on the subscribe button there so when a new episode pops up, you get that notification. Make sure, hey, if you're listening on Apple Pods or Spotify, hey, rate us, and give us a review on there. Love seeing the ratings and reviews. We've had good feedback so far, but we'll love that helps us in the algorithms as well when people are looking for different sports and baseball podcasts and life podcasts, as we've been talking a lot of life recently. So, hey, thank you for listening today. Go out, make it a great day.
Out, go pack, 8-5.